Hello everyone, this is Seema, Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering from Kaveri Institute of Technology, Mandya. Today in this session, I am going to start with the second chapter from module 1, that is a protocol layering in a network model. So let's discuss with what do you mean by a protocol layering, how the protocol layering will occurs in a network model. So let's discuss with the protocol layering. So from the last session itself, we'll get to know that a protocol is nothing but a set of rules. So this protocol will defines the rules which will be followed by the sender, receiver, as well as all the intermediate devices in a place where the communication is taken up. So protocol defines the set of rules that must be followed by sender, receiver, and all the intermediate devices in order to enable a communication in a effective manner. So when the communication, the communication will occur in two different ways. Either the communication is a simple or the communication is complex. When I say the communication is simple, only one protocol is needed. So only one set of rules is needed in order to take up a communication in a simple manner. So when I say the communication is complex, the entire task is divided between the different layers. Since it is a complex communication, the entire task is divided between the different layers. So the protocol is also needed for each and every layers. So the providing protocols for each and every layers in which a task is divided is called as a protocol layering. So providing a protocol to all the layers in order to make a communication in an effective manner with respect to a complex communication is known as a protocol layering. So let's understand the protocol layering by taking different conditions or by assuming different situation. Let's assume the very first situation. So here is an example of single layer protocol. Here the communication is simple since there is an exchange of messages only between two different people. So here it's a listen and talk. They'll have a both. They will have a capability of listen and they will have a rights to talk. So here Maria and Anne are the two different persons. So where they need to exchange their messages. So they use it transmission media as a. So in when I say the communication is simple, so here it takes a local communication. So I say here Maria and Anne will have a local communication since they met face to face. They have a face to face conversation. So I say it is a local communication. So now, so here the communication is so simple that it can occur only in a one layer. So the communication is occurs between only one layer. So since it occurs between a face to face local communication, since the conversation is occur at only one layer, exchanging of messages is taken up between a face to face. So they'll both Anne and Maria will have a certain common ideas to share about. So communication takes place in one layer. There's a face to face. So both Maria and Anne should exchange their communication, exchange their messages in a same language. So the conversation will taken up by using a same language. So let's see that they will have a certain rules. There are certain rules that both Maria and Anne should follow. So let's see what are the different rules that both of them will follow. The very first rule is they know that they should greet each other when they meet. So this is a very common sense and a simple rule that in each and every day we must follow. That is, we need to greet somebody. So for example, when we meet our friends, when we meet our friends after a long time, or when we meet our friends in order to talk something about, first what we need to do, usually we say good morning, or what we need to do, or what actually we do is we say good morning messages, or we say good morning, or somebody will start their conversation by saying hi or hello, right? So likewise they both of them, Anna and Maria should also know that they need to greet each other when they eventually met. So the next one is they know that they should confine their vocabulary to the level of their friendship. So it says that So when I say about confining to the vocabulary, so they'll keep their conversation within certain limits. So they'll have a certain limits, they'll keep certain limits. So they'll have their conversation within a limit. So they'll have their conversation within certain limits. And why they make certain limits in their discussion is in order to prevent their conversation going beyond a particular topic. They don't want to go beyond a particular topic of their discussion. They don't want to going beyond a topic, or they don't want to discuss irrelevant task. They don't want to going beyond a particular topic. So they want the conversation to be a perfect, and they should have a specific. The conversation is very much specific, and they don't want and they don't want and they don't want irrelevant talks, or they don't want irrelevant communication, or they don't want irrelevant conversation. So they strictly follow their vocabulary. They strictly follow the certain limits for their conversation. So what is the third rule is about is each party know that she should refrain from speaking when the other is speaking. So it is a common sense. It says that when somebody is speaking, when somebody is speaking, the other one will stay silent, right? It's a common sense, right? When somebody is speaking, we just have to listen. We just have to listen, right? We don't have to interrupt them. So we don't have to, or we don't make a sense. We don't create any nonsense there. So we need to stay silent by just listening to their talks. So each party, both Maria and Anne, will know that she should refrain from speaking when other party is speaking. So she should stay silent when Maria is speaking. Anne will stay silent. When Anya is speaking, Maria should silent. So they know the level of understanding is very good. So they know how should refrain from speaking. So they don't want to disturb each and every aspects of their conversation. So that's about the third rule. Next rule is each party knows that the conversation should be a dialogue, not a monologue. So both should have an opportunity to talk about a particular topic or particular issue. So what is a dialogue and what do you mean by a monologue is? Monologue is nothing but it's simply a speech which taken by a single person. So monologue is nothing but it's a speech which taken up by a single person. So it's a one-side communication. So it's a one-side or a single-side conversation. It's a one-sided or a single-side conversation. So so Anne and Maria meet in order to exchange their communication. So it is not a monologue. Since it's not a speech. It's not a conversation which taken place by a Anne, by only a Anne. It's a conversation takes place between a Maria and Anne. So it's a dialogue. It's an exchange of messages between a two different person. It's not a conversation taken up by a one-sided. It's a conversation taken by a two people. That is, it's a conversation taken by a Maria and Anne. So it is a dialogue, not a monologue. Both should have an opportunity to discuss about their particular topic, or they need to discuss about the issues. So the last is they should exchange some nice words when they leave. So this is a common sense, or this is a very formal way of saying bye to somebody, or they'll use some formal way in order to say bye. So either by saying a bye, or just by giving any nice messages, they should exchange some nice word when they meet. So when the conversation is over, they need to leave each other. They need to leave the particular place where they met. So they should exchange some formal messages in order to give a nice talk. So let's take an example and see how it actually works. So that is about the first scenario, which is taken up by face-to-face communication. So they exchange messages and they discuss about their ideas. They'll have a good conversation. So let's consider with the second scenario. So what happens in case of a second scenario is, uh, so in the first scenario, it's a face-to-face communication, but let's see what in case of a second. So assume that Anne is offered a high-level position in her company, but she needs to move on to another branch which is located in a city where from Maria. So with respect to the first situation, in the first situation, both Maria and Anne stay in a single area. Both will stay in a single area. So when they need to meet, or when they think up of meeting, they'll meet face to face. But now the condition is critical. Now Anne is offered a high level position in her company, so she need to move on another branch which is located in a city which is very far from Maria. So they both are moving from far away. They'll have certain the distance. Now the distance, there is a gap will created between the location of Maria and Han. But they don't want to end their friendship, or they don't want to end their conversation. They don't want to end their message exchanging of conversation. The two friends still want to continue their communication and exchange their ideas, because why they need to have a communication, or why they need to exchange the ideas, because they will have an intention that they need to develop a particular project after their retired. So after at a certain age, when they'll ended up with their professional life, when they ended with their professional life, they'll think up of discovering something or developing some innovative project in order to start a business or in order to earn something. So they need to discuss about their ideas of developing a particular project. So they need to have a communication, they need to have a daily conversation, or they need to have certain conversation in order to exchange their ideas. So both of them still want their communication when they are far also. So they decide to continue their conversation using regular mail through the post office. So now they're using a regular mail as a transmission media, or a transmission media they'll use as a regular mail. So in the previous example, they use a regular they use air as a transmission media, since they met face to face. Now they're using regular mail as their transmission media through the post office in order to exchange their conversation, in order to exchange their ideas. So let's see how this regular message or regular mail will taken up the conversation between Anne and Maria. So the next is what they think about the exchanging the messages through mail is, they don't want their ideas to be relieved by other people if the letters are intercepted. So it is, chances are more, right? So when we post some letter in a post office, we don't have any authority, or we don't have any kind of any guarantees that the letter will certainly reach to us. So there is also chances that some troubles will occur, or some mischiefs will happen when there is an exchange of letters will taken up. So they don't want their ideas to be revealed. So if they think, if somebody will knows that there is a something which makes to develop their identity, or which makes to earn something, they'll easily mischief, or they easily stolen their ideas, right? So these both Anne and Maria will don't want their ideas to be relieved by other people. So they'll use they agree on encryptions and description. So they think of using some techniques called as an encryptions or decryption. So what do you mean by an encryptions or a decryptions? So encryption is nothing but, so encryption, when I say it's when I think of encryption, so encryption is nothing but it's a process. It's a process of translating. It's a process of translating a plain text into ciphertext. It's a process of translating a plain text into a ciphertext. Now, if your question is, what do you mean by a plain text. So plain text is nothing but it's just a English like statement. It's just a English like statement. Then here one more question is, what do you mean by a ciphertext? Then so what do you mean by a ciphertext? Then so this ciphertext is nothing but it is something. So ciphertext is nothing but it's a something which is appears to be random. So something which appears to be random, or it is also called it's a meaningless. So encryption is a process of translating a plain text into a ciphertext, or in other words, the translation of English like statement into something which is appears to be a random, or it's appear to be a meaningless, which is called as a ciphertext. Then your one more question is, then what do you mean by a description, right? So I learned about an encryption. So now what do you mean by an decryption? So description is not, so I said encryption is nothing but a process of translating a plain text into a ciphertext. So in a vice versa, description is nothing but decryption is a vice versa of description is the vice versa of encryption. So that is, it's a process of converting, it's a process of converting ciphertext. It's a process of converting ciphertext back to a plain text. Ciphertext is converted into a plain text is known as a decryption. So we know that encryption is a process of translating a plain text into a ciphertext. So decryption is used to convert a ciphertext back to a plain text. So in order to take both these encryptions and decryption techniques, so in order to use this both encryption and decryption techniques, they need to know a certain key. They use certain key in order to, so this key is predominantly used in order to encrypt the data. So to encrypt the data, the key is must required. There is a key. So if the encryption process taken up, then in order to take a decryption process, the certain key is needed in order to encrypt a particular data. So they'll agree on using this encryption as well as a encryption or decryption technique. So the sender of a letter encrypts it. So that is encrypts in a sense. They translate the plain text into ciphertext and make it unreadable. So this encryption makes the text into unreadable. So as I said, ciphertext appears to be random, or it's a meaningless one. So when somebody is stolen, since the letter is encrypted, they don't get any ideas, or they don't understand about a particular letter. Since it's a meaningless format, since the ciphertext is a meaningless format, the person who stolen the letter didn't get anything about their conversation, didn't get anything about their ideas. So they're unreadable by an intruder. So the receiver of the letter decrypts it to get the original letter. So if Maria will encrypt the letter, then Anne will need to decrypt the letter in order to get it to readable format, or in order to get it to the encryption format, or in order to get it in a plain text format. Now if we say the communication between Maria and Anne takes place in 3 layers, that is, they need to take an encryption process, they need to mail the message, they need to mail then decryption process. So these are the 3 different processes taken up when the communication between Maria and Anne is taken up in an effective manner. So let's see how this communication will happen. So this is how the 3-layer protocol is taken up with respect to Maria and Anne. Since in the layer 1, Maria will have a ability to send a mail or receive a mail by using a post office. So by using a post office, they'll have an ability to mail or receive the mail. So first, what they need is either they create a plain text, then they convert the plain text to a ciphertext. Then the ciphertext is mailed in a post office. Then this ciphertext is mailed in some post office, right? So in the similar way, the process is taken up in the same manner in case of Anne. So let's see with each perspectives. Let's see with Anne's and Maria's perspectives, how the communication will eventually taken up with respect to both Anne and Maria. So this is the three protocol layering. So let's assume first Maria sends a letter to Anne. What if first Maria will think up of sending a letter to Anne? So let's see what are the different situations will taken up when Maria is thinking up of sending a letter to Anne. So at Maria's head, what she is actually doing is, so firstly, she'll talks with, so first Maria will talks to the machine. So as a third layer through the machine is, so the as at the third layer, the machine that she thinking as a hand. So what the machine is now, she is thinking is hand. So and this machine is listening to her talk. So what she is talking is listening by hand. So now the hand here is machine. So now the hand here is machine. So the third layer machine listens to what Maria says and creates a plain text. So whatever she is telling, so whatever the Maria is speaking or whatever the conversation that taken up by a Maria is listened and it creates a plain text. So whatever she is telling is created as a format of plain text. So it's a letter in English. So thus this plain text is passed to the second layer machine. So in this second layer, the encryption process is taken up. So in the second layer, the encryption process is taken up. So the second layer machine takes the plain text, encrypts it. So as I said, encryption is a process of converting the plain text into a ciphertext. So once the second layer will takes the plain text, it will eventually convert or it will eventually converts the plain text into a ciphertext. Now this ciphertext will pass to the first layer. So in the first layer, we'll have a mail. So the ciphertext is now converted to a mail. So now the now it is ready for the delivery. So the first layer machine, possibly a robot, which takes the ciphertext, puts it in an envelope and adds the address of both sender and the receiver and mails it. So the address is necessary in order to get easily in order to taken up the letter in an easier and in a reputed manner. So we need a both sender as well as a receiver address in order to taken up the letter to a correct destination. In order to place a letter to a but correct destination, we need a receiver address. So if it is not delivered to a correct address, then it need to get back, right? So we need sender address also. So this is how the communication will taken up, or this is how the Maria's action with respect to a with respect to providing a letter, or with respect to giving a letter to hand, with respect to writing a letter to hand. Let's see what happens at the hand side. So at hand side, so when Maria is sends a letter, when Maria is eventually post the letter, so she here and she received a mail. She received a mail from Anne through a post letter, through a postmaster. She received a letter. So for and then she recognized that the letter is from Maria by observing the sender address. So once she'll taken up this. She don't have. She didn't get understand anything about the ideas which are written in that letter, because it consists of a thing which is written in a ciphertext format. So first, what she need to do? She need to decrypt a letter. So she need to convert the ciphertext into a plain text. So in order to decrypt, she need a key. So this key is known by both Anne and Maria. So this key is acts as a secret agent. So this key is acts as a secret agent which is known between a Maria and Anne. So by using this key, she will try to decrypt the particular message. So at the layer 2, she decrypt the ciphertext into a plain text. Now by using a decryption technique, the ciphertext is back to a plain text. Now by converting to the plain text, now Anne is listening to the words of Maria. Anne will listening to the speech which is recorded by Maria. So this is how the communication will taken up at the 3-level layers. So first layer machine picks up the letter from Anne's mailbox, recognizing the letter from Maria by the sender address. The machine takes out the ciphertext from the envelope and delivers it to the second layer machine. So in the second layer machine, it decrypts the messages by using a certain key, which is a secret key, which is known between Maria and Anne, creates the plain text and passes the message to a third layer machine. So the third layer machine takes the plain text and read it as through the Maria is speaking. So this is how the conversation is taken up between the Maria and Anne when they are in a remote control communication. When the communication is taken up at a far away, it is called as a remote communication. So here it will takes 3 layers communication. So for example, in this figure, in this figure, we could have used only one machine to do the job of all the 3 machines. However, if Mary and Anne decided that the encryption and decryption done by the machine is not enough to protect their secrecy, so once if Mary and Anne thought that decryption is not a perfect method to protect the secrecy, they would have to change the whole machine, right? So what they so let's see what's the rule in that situation. They need to change only the second layer. So in the second layer itself, so what is the what happens in case of a second layer? So in the first layer, it is about a mail, right? So it is about a mail. So what in case of a second layer? So either they need to use an encryption technique or they use an decryption technique, right? So if they need to think, if they thought that this encryption and decryption technique is not a safe, then they eventually change only the layer 2 of the complete machine. So other two will remain the same. So this is known as a modularity, changing a single layer in a communication path. So changing a single layer in a communication path is known as a modularity. So modularity means independent layer. So removing an independent layer from an entire system. So a layer can be defined as a black box with input and output without concern about how inputs are changed into output. So a layer or a layer is also known as a module. It can be defined as a black box with certain inputs and outputs without concern about how these inputs are changes to a particular output. So if two machines provided the same output, when given the same input, they can replace each other. If the machine will provide the same output when the same input is given, they can replace the input by outputs, or they can replace the outputs by inputs. So let's see the advantages of protocol layering. What are the benefits of using this protocol layering? So this protocol layering will allow us to separate the services from implementation, which means that a layer needs to be able to receive a set of services from the lower layer and to give the services to the upper layer. We don't care about how the layer is implemented. So we don't want how the implementation process is taken place. We just want to receive a certain services. We just want to give certain services. So just we need to take up certain services from the lower layer, and we just want to give certain services to the lower layer, upper layer. We don't want to know how the implementation process is taken up. So in case of a protocol layering, the implementation process is separate from the services. So for example, in the previous scenarios, what we discussed is Maria may decided not to buy the machine. So they Maria and in order to exchange their communication, they don't want to buy the machine called robot for the first layer. She can do the job herself as long as the machine can do the task provided by the first layer in both the direction. The communication system works. So they don't think of buying a machine. Instead, she can only do the job for herself. So let's see what the second advantage is. So it reduces the complexity at the intermediate system. So communication doesn't always use only two-end systems. There are intermediate systems that need only some layers, but not all the layers. So when the communication takes place in an efficient manner, these intermediate systems are not needed. So by using this protocol layering, it reduces the complexities of using intermediate systems. So if we don't use the protocol layering, we could have to make we could have to make each intermediate systems as complex as the end system. So if we didn't divide the task, if we didn't divide the task and assign the services for each and every protocol, if we didn't use the protocol layering, then we need to go with an intermediate systems that complex. So which makes the whole system more expansive, right? So making an intermediate system is a more complex one. So using a protocol layering is far better than using a complex systems. So we always go with the protocol layering in order to reduce the complexities of intermediate systems. So let's see what are the different principles of protocol layering. So the very first principle says that if we want bidirectional communication, we need to make each layer so that it is able to perform two opposite tasks, one in each direction. So we know that bidirectional communication is taken up by two different entities, or by in order to have a communication between two agents. So we need to make each layer so that it is able to perform two opposite tasks. So in the bidirectional communication, each and everyone have a capability of listening, or each and every have a capability of talks. So both can act as a sender as well as a receiver. So for example, the third layer task is to listen and talk. Second layer needs to be able to convert, encrypt and decrypt. So this is an example of bidirectional communication. So here the sender can have an ability to talk, and she'll have a right to listen, right? This is called as a bidirectional communication. Either she'll have an ability to talk, or she will have an ability to listen. Here also the second layer will have an ability to encrypt, or it will have a rights to decrypt. So this is called as a bidirectional communication. So the very first principle says that if you want a bidirectional communication, we need to make each layer so that it is able to perform two opposite tasks. For example, let me take a real world scenario. If somebody will have a, if I have a certain layer in order to perform a write operation. So if I provide a layer in order to perform a write operation, that layer must and should have a identity, or must and should have a intention to have a read task also. They should have to perform the read task also, since it is a opposite task. So one will taken place in each direction. So the first layer needs to send the mail or receive the mail. So the entire system what we are learned through the Maria and AND is about a bidirectional communication. So the second principle is if two objects under each layer at both sides should be identical. So each objects should be identical. So let's see, for example, the object under layer 3 at both sides should be a plain text letter. So if I say there is a two different entities, one is a sender and another one is a if I say one is a sender and another one is a receiver. So for example, if I say in the sender, I am intentions of sending an email ID. So in the receiver also they'll receive the email ID itself. They'll receive a correct email ID itself. If I say, for example, if I send an email ID, at the receiver side, if they receive some images, this is not the correct way of communication. So this, when I saw what the second principle is, says that when two objects under each layer at both sides should be identical. So when the communication is taken up, the plain text which is converted should be same. So the object under layer 2 at both sides should be a ciphertext letter. So should be a piece of mail. So these are the three different situations which taken up at the example of AND and Maria. So at the site of an AND, so at the layer 3 of an AND, there should be a plain text. So at the layer 3 of both AND and Maria, it should be a plain text. So with respect to a layer 2 of both AND and Maria, it should be a ciphertext. So at layer 1, both should have a piece of mail. So it is about the second principle. In order to exchange any messages, each and every object will have a identical factors. So let's see logical connections. The two protocol at the same layer can have a logical connection. So in order to link between a two different entities, or in order to taken up between a two different layers, so in order to exchange the communication between a two different protocols, we need this logical connection. So by using this logical connection, we can create a link. So this means that we have a layer to layer communication. Since we develop a link between each and every layers, we call this as a layer to layer communication. Here is a pictorial representation how the logical connections is taken up. So here, whatever the mail I send, it will links to the mail which is received by the hand. So whatever the cipher text have changes with respect to plain text, it is similar to the cipher text received by the AND. So the whatever the plain text I'm recording, it's similar to the plain text what she is listening. So it's a link which is creating between a two different end users. This is the logical connection. So it is called as a layer to layer protocol. So this is about the protocol layering. So thank you.